Let's change the lights out on our trailer. Well, first things first, let's take off those old ones. I lost the handle to my knife, so I just got a bunch of loose blades laying around. This is what I'm going to use. If you have a wire stripper, that'll work way better. Put it in there, click it, and then it pulls the plastic out. If you don't have that, a blade or a knife will do. You don't want too long of a piece of bare wire. So what I do is I hold the knife steady. I'll put my wire on there, and I'll roll the wire over the edge of the blade, and that's slowly cutting into the plastic or the rubber that covers the wire. You do got to be gentle. Don't press too much. That copper inside is surprisingly delicate. I actually just cut through a couple of fibers in there. Not too many, but I did. Actually, there's quite a few in there. That's how little you have to press, and that's why actual wire strippers work way better. We might go a little further, and just to make sure we got good contact with the other end. So I'm gonna try to not press as hard as I did earlier. There we go. I did a much better job there. I think I might have cut half the wires on the first run. Okay, we'll be more careful on this side. Here's our new light. Yellow goes with yellow, brown goes with brown, and this white one is the ground. This one's gonna go behind this harness right here, and it's gonna go bolted down with the hardware that comes with it. Just make sure you got really good contact with this and the frame of the trailer. If it's dirty or rusted, you're gonna want to really clean that and then bolt it down so you don't lose power to the light. That will cause the light to stop working. And the way I'm going to join these is with these heat shrink couplers. These are a great, easy way to join cables without having to solder anything yourself or twist cables or anything like that. You slide it in through one side, put in the other cable, you crimp it down the middle, you heat it up, and this will melt right onto the wire. And it's got like this gooey plastic on the inside. Once it melts and covers everything over, it makes it watertight, so there's no water coming in there and causing a lot of corrosion. Your light kit might come with these. These are great. I love using these, except when it comes to something that's going to be touching water all the time. These are not waterproof. There might be a version that are waterproof, but those are not. They have no kind of sealing properties or anything like that. You could use them and then fill it in with some kind of compound, but these types of joints, these work excellent. The ends of the cables on the lights, there's not much cable exposed there, so I'm gonna strip that back just a little bit more. All right, that was pretty easy. So let's start with the yellow one first. Get in there, and there is a little kink in the crimp right there. It kind of stops the wires from going any further than midway. If they do go further, it's not really a big deal. So I'm going to crimp the left side first so I can let go of that. Now the right side. Okay. Alright. These are crimped in pretty good. Well, I can't see that flame, but it's there. We also don't want to scorch it, so we're gonna do this pretty slowly. If you have an actual heat gun, that would be a lot more efficient and safer. We don't have a heat gun, so I use a torch. You can also use a lighter, I guess. So you might be able to see that there's a bit of gooey stuff coming out the ends, and that's that liner on the inside that's melting and creating that watertight seal. And when this dries, it should be pretty solid. So for our next wires, same deal. Alright. Slide in there. Okay. That's pretty solid. I'm not gonna mount these completely just yet. I've had probably 2 sets of trailer lights, brand new from the store, plugged in, and they don't work. Before I go through the trouble of doing all that, I'm gonna plug in the ground and see if I can get some power running through there. Well, that's a working trailer light right there. Let's go ahead and do the same to the other one before we actually bolt them on. We'll do the same test, and then we'll get them on the trailer correctly. Hit the brakes. Both lights are on. Left signal. Got the left blinking. Right. Turn the lights off. Back on. Emergency lights. Looks like we got some working trailer lights. Let's bolt them down to the trailer and finish up. If I bolt this down just like that, I'll be crushing these wires. Don't want to do that. But these this thing actually has little holes to route the cables around to go into the frame without smashing them with the bolts, which is pretty good because otherwise I'd have no choice. Now these two, they need to come up and off the side. So push them in right here and into the side, and that ought to hold them in place while we bolt this in. Pop the screws into that little socket, into that little hole. That's what holds them together. Not the best system, but it'll do. We just line up the holes back there while feeding in the cable, and there we have it. That's a pretty good fit right there. Don't forget to put the license plate holder back on. I forgot to do that. We're gonna put the ground on the inside behind this. The pressure from the nuts and the license plate holder pushing up against, pushing this in between these two, will hopefully create enough contact for that ground to really be effective. All right, license plate holder is on now. I'm not gonna put it on just yet. I just use zip ties. I lost the nuts and bolts for it years ago. Zip ties work just perfectly fine. I actually find that it helps, especially off-roading, because then the license plate doesn't break off. It already has in the past. It just bends, and the zip ties have enough movement to let the license plate fold up and down the way it needs to when you're traveling over mud and sand. Let's see if we got good contact. Looks good.